So to refute my opponent's claim that the death penalty is not cruel and unusual, I will be bringing up some facts from some sources, such as The Economist, who states that there are two reasons for arguing that the death penalty is cruel and unusual. One was a grim display in Arizona on July 23rd, when Joseph Wood, a double murderer, took nearly 2 gasping, choking hours to die by lethal injection. If this is the case, if it's not cruel and unusual, then why would certain people take longer to die from these humane punishments? And another thing is that another source from The Economist states that out of the more 900 people on death row in California who have been sentenced to death, only 13 have been executed. The last one died in 2006. The same year, a federal court ruled that California's mode of lethal injection carried a risk that the inmate will suffer pain so extreme that it should be considered cruel and unusual. A source from the New York Times states that the European Court of Human Rights in 1989 ruled that extended periods on death row have violated the provision of the European Convention of Human Rights that bars torture or inhuman, degrading treatment or punishment. The court acknowledged the capital punishment was permitted by the convention in some circumstances, but nevertheless ruled that Britain could not deport a German man to Virginia to face capital charges there, because if he would convicted, he would expect to spend 6 to 8 years on death row, suffering the anguish and ever-mounting tension of living under the shadow of death. Another source from Huffington Post says that the system we currently have is prohibitively expensive, that 10% of the death sentences doled out in California are ultimately reversed, and that many prisoners on death row die of natural causes long before they are put to death, and that there are more death row suicides than actual executions, and that the small percentage of those who are actually executed seem to constitute a random group. Another refutation is that these delays in the death penalty could also be considered cruel and unusual punishment, because, and a source from NPR, Richard Glossip was convicted for hiring another man to kill his boss in 1997. He was scheduled to die in September, but at the last minute he received a stay of execution. He didn't know why until a TV reporter told him over the phone that the government stopped the execution because the state had the wrong drug. Twice in September, he ate his last meal and prepared himself for the execution. Both times, his execution was stopped hours before he was supposed to die. And such delays could be considered psychological torture to someone on death row. Thank you. Thank you for your time.